Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. A very useful skill for a musician is being able to create backing tracks. Of course, you can get backing tracks from a variety of sources, but being able to make your own custom backing tracks is very useful when you're working in the practice room. In this video, I'll be putting together a 12-bar blues track. It's really basic, but the idea is to very quickly get our progression down and get jamming over it almost immediately. And you'll see how fast the process is using the EZ instruments. Today we'll be using 3 virtual instruments from Toontrack's EZ family to create our backing track. We'll be using EZdrummer, EZkeys, and the new EZbass. All 3 come with a wide range of grooves that make it easy and fast to put together a backing track in just about any musical style. Plus you can add on tons of optional grooves and sounds for even more possibilities. You can use these EZ instruments for rock, metal, country, jazz, Latin, and more styles, and as we'll see in this video, they're great for blues backing tracks. Now, backing tracks can range from a single chord with a drum beat under it to a fully programmed, complex rendition of a song. But in this video, our goal is to create a complete 12-bar blues backing track, but not to get too carried away with details. We want to get to playing as quickly as possible. As you'll see, we can create a track like this in no time at all. The key to working fast is having everything ready to go so you don't have to do any setup. I recommend creating a template in your DAW so you can instantly get rolling on a backing track. Your template can be as simple or as complex as you want. Set it up for your workflow and it'll save you a ton of time. There are 7 tracks in my template. I don't use all of them in every backing track, but having these tracks ready to go gives me plenty of options. The first track is my count-in, which feeds MIDI to EZdrummer. The count-in track provides a 2-bar count-off on the hi-hat before the track starts. To make this track, I simply took the 4-beat count-off provided with EZdrummer 2 in the Modern library under Extras, and dragged it into a MIDI track. Then I duplicated it so I had 8 beats or 2 bars total. I assigned the MIDI out to play EZdrummer. You could choose to do this in your main EZdrummer track, but I like having it separate in my template. The next track is labeled Drum Kit and includes an instance of EZdrummer. I have EZdrummer load up with a basic modern drum kit ready to go. You can choose any kit you like for your template that makes a good starting point for you, and of course you can always change the kit later if you want. Next up I have a percussion track with another instance of EZdrummer. This instance of EZdrummer loads a basic Latin percussion kit, so I have options to add a bit of additional flavor and color if I want. The bass track has an instance of EZbass. I have this set to load up with a nice vintage bass tone ready to go. The keys track is for EZkeys. I have this default to grand piano, but you could choose an electric piano or another keyboard instrument if you want. The last 2 tracks are Guitar 1 and Guitar 2. These are empty audio tracks that I use to add rhythm guitar chords or riffs if I want those as part of my backing track. Now I don't always use the percussion track or the guitar tracks. It depends on the style of music and what type of backing track I'm making. For example, for this blues backing track, I probably won't add any extra percussion. But they're available and ready to go if I want them. Notice I have all my tracks labeled and color-coded and all set up, ready to go as soon as the template loads into my DAW. I even have the 2 guitar tracks pre-panned right and left so I don't have to think about them. Here are a couple tips for your template. First of all, the DAW will set the master tempo. My template is set to default to 120 beats per minute, but we can adjust that later. 2 other things, be sure that all 3 EZ instruments are set to follow host so they'll start and stop and sync up when you hit play and stop in the DAW. And also be sure that Preview Original Tempo is turned off in the browser for all 3 instruments. This way when you're searching for grooves, they play at the tempo you're using for your backing track. Okay, so let's say we're making a 12-bar blues backing track. You've already got your template open and ready to go. Start with the instrument that'll define the track for you. For me, this usually will be the drums. EZdrummer comes with included blues grooves, or you can add the optional blues expansion and get many more. Open the EZdrummer browser and find the groove you want. Use the keywords and search options to help drill down and find the right groove. I'm looking for a basic beat for my blues track, nothing too fancy. Okay, that works for me. I like that it has some light fills and cymbals to break things up and to signal the sections, just like a real drummer would do. Drag the groove down into EZdrummer's song track. It's 12 bars long, so we're good to go. Now remember to start the track at bar 3 because we have to allow for the 2-bar count-in. I'll add the bass track next, and the vintage bass sound I've got loaded into my template will be fine for a 12-bar blues, so there's no need to change that. We just need to find the groove we want. I want a nice walking type bass that defines the chords well. I like that one, so I'll drag it down into the song track in EZbass. Remember, we're starting at bar 3 because of the 2-bar count in. This groove is also 12 bars long and already includes the chords that we need for our blues. It doesn't get any easier than that. Now we can define the key for the backing track and choose major or minor. Remember, you can always change this later. For now, I'm going to leave this in C major. You could edit the chords on the bass track if necessary, but in this case, EZbass already has the right chords for our basic 12-bar blues, and you can always change the chords later if you want. So this might be all you need for your backing track, just drums and bass, or maybe you want to add some rhythm guitar to the drums and bass. If so, just record your guitar parts into the guitar tracks as audio. I don't think I'll add any guitars to my backing track, but I'll add EZkeys for some piano. Once again, we just need to find our groove. I like this groove. It fits the bass part and it isn't too busy, and it should be perfect. Depending on the groove, you might need to match the keyboard chords to what the bass is doing, but in this case we're fine. Both the bass and the keys are using pretty standard, basic 1-4-5 12-bar blues chords. You could also choose to edit the keyboard chords to add more extensions and color tones. For example, if you want a sharp 9 on the 5 chord, 13 chords, or something like that. But we're going basic, so I'll just leave these as is. Now that we've got the piano in there, this is another point where you might want to add some guitar rhythm. But I'm fine with this being drums, bass, and keys. It gives me a solid 12-bar blues to play along with, and I've got plenty of space to play guitar over the top. If you want to dress up your backing track, you could go back and add a drum fill leading into the start of the track, and even add an ending if you desire. But this does the job for what I want. I'm not making a song here, I'm making a track to practice with, so it doesn't have to be too fancy. Once you have your 12 bars ready to go, you have different ways you can progress with your track. You could choose to stay within the EZ instruments. To extend them for a longer backing track, you can copy and paste in each instrument's song track. Or you can loop the song tracks within each EZ instrument and have them repeat for as long as you play your DAW. Or another method would be to drag the MIDI out of the EZ instrument song tracks to MIDI your instrument tracks in your DAW. Copy and paste or duplicate to extend the track for each instrument, or you can just loop the track in your DAW. I like to duplicate the MIDI regions so I can set how long the backing track plays for. This method gives added flexibility since you have deeper access to the MIDI data, and it's easy to add notes, drop in crash cymbals, or do whatever other editing you might want to do on the grooves. Once you're finished, you can use the backing track as is within your DAW. Just save it. In this case, we might go with Blues in C 120 BPM, and open it in your DAW when you want to use it. Or you can bounce the backing track out as a WAV or MP3 audio file that you can play back anywhere. That's what I usually do, so I don't have to load my DAW in order to practice along with the backing track. You could even bounce out several versions at different tempos and in different keys so you have variety when you're practicing. That's it. Your 12-bar blues backing track is ready for you to start jamming. Toontrack's EZdrummer, EZbass, and EZkeys make it so simple and fast. If you've set up a template, then really the only time involved is finding the grooves you want and maybe adjusting the chords if needed. You truly can be making music in just a matter of seconds. I hope you've enjoyed this look at how fast and simple it is to create a backing track using Toontrack's EZ instruments. You can sit down and in just a couple of minutes have a custom track to jam over. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater.